Hey guys, Thoughtful One here with my Let's Try Bill Elliott's NASCAR Challenge for the NES. This is actually the first racing game to get licensed by NASCAR. So a little bit of historical significance there. There's 4 different tracks that you can race on. I chose Sears Point. It's the one with the most turns, and it's the one I tend to do the best on. The 2 more famous ones, Daytona and Talladega, are all-out speed races, and I don't tend to do as well on those. Most of the reason why I do well on this track is the tuning, which you can do before the race. You can choose your transmission, automatic or manual. Your engine, although you'll pretty much always want the race engine for races. The other engine is the qualifying engine, which puts out more power but will overheat during a race. You can adjust your spoiler. Basically, the higher degree that you have, the more the airflow will push your car down onto the road, making your turning better, but that will also slow you down a little bit. You can adjust your gear ratios, which has to do with your shifting. A higher gear ratio basically means you'll shift a lot more, a lot sooner. It generally gives you better acceleration, more power coming out from the turns, because you'll usually have higher RPMs. But depending on your tweaking of the gear ratios, you might actually max out your RPMs before you reach your top speed. And you can actually blow your engine out, which I've done. If you have a lower gear ratio, then your lower gears have more power, but you don't have as much acceleration. Finally, they have tire stagger, which I didn't understand exactly, but the manual suggested you have a high amount of tire stagger for the speed tracks like Daytona and Talladega. So for this track, I didn't have any, and my settings seem to work. I tend to do, like I said, a lot better on Sears Point, usually top 4, whereas the other tracks I tend to do middle of the pack, sometimes the lower end of the middle of the pack. Before each race, you do a qualifying race, which is basically 2 laps around the track. You can automatically qualify, but the computer will generally never put you in a good position. You'll either be middle of the pack, or sometimes, like this time, start out dead last. So usually it's a good idea to do the qualifying races on your own. I just chose to automatically qualify, just to speed things up and get immediately to the race. As you can see, it's a first-person perspective. I think it looks pretty good considering it's on the NES. This game was actually released on several different systems, and to my understanding, it does look a lot better on those other systems. For the races, you can choose to do anywhere from 10 miles, which is what I'm doing, to 500 miles. If you do longer races, then you'll obviously have to do pit stops. I found the pit stops to be a little difficult, which is part of the reason why I did not choose a longer race. For the pit stops, you have to stop in your pit slot, and your pit slot is your qualifying position. So you have to remember what position you qualified for. You can tell, visually see which slot is yours. It does look a little different from the other car slots, but you have to basically know where your car slot is, because you have to be going slow enough. You just have to be prepared to pull in there. As you can hear, is no music when you're racing during the game. I think that they did that to add to the realism. To my understanding, Bill Elliott actually assisted the game designers in developing this game, and he actually does give you tips if you do the practice mode. There's 4 different things that you can practice, things such as passing and drafting, and he will give you some professional tips before you actually do the practice run. But they definitely went with more realistic rather than the arcade type of driving physics. So it ends up being kind of like an 8-bit Gran Turismo. You actually cannot run off of the track. I've tried. It's impossible. They won't let you. You can damage your car, but there are no explosions in the game. There's no big wreck. You just get yourself disqualified from what I could tell. It's a little unfortunate since NASCAR is known for those, sad and unfortunate, but exciting car crashes, the big pile-ups. Here we go, last lap. It says 5 seconds behind. The lead car is always Bill Elliott. So I'm only 5 seconds behind Bill. I might be able to catch up with him. To me, this is the most exciting track, Sears Point, because there are all of the turns. Daytona and Talladega, actually I can't really tell the difference between those 2 tracks because they seem to be exactly the same. And you can obviously go a lot faster. I've gotten up to 197 miles per hour on one of those tracks. I can't remember which one. But you don't really have that sense of speed, and I think that's just the game's graphical limitations causing that, but this track I think is just a lot more fun. And part of that might be because I tend to do a lot better on it too. Here we go. Got him. Alright. Oh. I think the race is ending soon, so I should end first. There shouldn't be any danger. Oh yeah. See him disappearing in the rearview mirror. There it is. Alright guys, well that is my Let's Try Bill Elliott's NASCAR Challenge. It's a fun game. Like I said, the first to be licensed by NASCAR. So don't hesitate to try it out. This has been Thoughtful One, signing out.